So we have now done adding and subtracting of fractions. We did the first type, like these ones, where the denominator was a number, or both denominators were numbers. And then we increased the complexity a little bit by making the denominators expressions. So the next thing we're going to move on to is division. Now we're going to do what they call just division in algebra and then long division in algebra. So we'll just do division today, okay? So I'm going to go through a few of these. I don't know if I'll do them all, but anyway. Simplify each of the following fractions. And this is A. Now, what I need to tell you about these questions is that you already know how to do them. I am not going to teach you anything new here today, okay? This is all based on your factorizations, okay? So if you remember, you know how to factorize using the highest common factor method. You know how to factorize using difference of two squares method. And you know how to factorize using the guide number and the trinomials. Yeah? And that's all that's going to be required here. Okay? Just all mushed together in one. So this is almost like a puzzle in do you know your factorization as opposed to anything new. Okay, so let me show you. Okay, so the first one is, just take the top line on its own, 15x minus 25. So it's one of these. It's definitely not a trinomial because there isn't 3 bits. Is it a difference of 2 squares? Well, it is a difference. But the big giveaway is that the x isn't squared. So if the x isn't squared, it can't be a difference of 2 squares. So it's highest common factor. Okay, so we're going to take, I'm going to do it out kind of longhand here just so you know what you're doing. So this is the top line. What's common? It's 5. And then I open up my bracket. So I'm going to divide by 5 here, and I'm going to divide by 5 here. So 15 divided by 5 is 3, and we have the x. This 5 is a plus 5, so it's minus and plus, which is different signs. Gives me a minus, and 25 divided by 5 is 5. So that's the top line. Yeah? Now, the bottom line. Right. So, again, it's not a trinomial. It's not a difference of 2 squares because the letter in it isn't squared. The x is not squared. So is it a highest common factor? Now, so is there a common number between 3 and 5 other than 1? Because remember, 1 won't make a difference. There isn't. Okay, both 3 and 5 are prime numbers, which means they don't have a common factor other than 1. Which means we can't factorize this. Okay, so that cannot be factorized further. So stick them back together. So the top line is 5 times 3x minus 5. And the bottom line is 3x minus 5. So what will happen is that the 3x minus 5 on the top will cancel with the 3x minus 5 on the bottom. And your answer is 5. Okay, so you separate your top and your bottom, and you try to pick which of the 3 different factorizations that it is. And it could be, like over here, that it just can't be factorized. And then you put them back, top line on top, bottom line on bottom, obviously. And then you cancel. And in these questions, something should always cancel. That's the whole point. All right, so we'll go on and do B. Have a little look at B. So the top line of B is x squared minus 5x plus 6. So that is a trinomial because there's 3 bits. Remember that there's a 1 in front. So when you're doing a trinomial, you multiply the first number by the last number to get your guide number. So that means the guide is plus 6. Factors are 1 by 6 and 2 by 3. What are we trying to get? Oh, go green. We are trying to get minus 5. Okay. So we'll go back over here. So if I add them, I can get 7, and if I minus them, I can get 5. So that will work. And if I add these, I get 5. Okay, so that's going to work. Now let's see signs-wise, because obviously only one of them is going to work, so we have to figure out the signs. Okay, so I'm trying to get a minus 5. So 1 and 6. If I put a plus on the 1 and a minus on the 6, I have plus 1 minus 6, and that equals minus 5. So that works. Now, if you multiply plus 1 by minus 6, so if I do plus 1 multiplied by minus 6, the different signs give me a minus, and 1 by 6 is 6. So minus 6, but if you look here, what was our guide number? Plus 6. So that doesn't work. Okay, it works when you add. Sorry, I'm just getting my charger. It works when you add, but it doesn't work when you multiply. And like I said, only one of them can work. So let's try the other one. Okay, so I'm trying to get a minus 5 out of these two. So if I go minus, minus, I would have minus 2 minus 3, and that's minus 5, so that works. And now if I multiply them, minus 2 multiplied by minus 3, same signs give me a plus, and 2 by 3 is 6, so that gives me a plus 6, which is what the guide number is, so that works. Okay, so that was one of those tricky ones where it looked like there was two possibilities. There's never two possibilities, you just have to work through it. Okay, so it's that one. Okay, so I have 1x squared, and then instead of this, I'm going to write these. So I have minus 2, don't forget the x, minus 3x, and then I go back up here for my plus 6. Group them. Okay, so common here is a 1 and an x, and open up my bracket, divide by 1x, divide by 1x. So 1 divided by 1 is 1. This x will remove one of these, leaving 1 behind. Different signs give me minus. 2 divided by 1 is 2, and the x's cancel. Second bracket is a minus and a plus, so you're going to have to pick. So I go minus. Between 3 and 6, common 3, and there's no letter because only this has a letter. Open up my bracket. I am going to divide by minus 3, divide by minus 3. Same signs give me plus. It's a leading plus, so you don't write it. 3 divided by 3 is 1, and then you have your x. Different signs give me minus. 6 divided by 3 is 2. Then we have to check that this bracket matches this bracket. So here I have a plus 1x and a plus 1x and a minus 2 and a minus 2. So I write down 1x minus 2, 1x minus 3. Alright, so that is my, if you remember, top line. Bottom line is here, 3x minus 9. I'll put it over here. Okay, so it's definitely not another trinomial, thank God. They take ages. Is it a difference of two squares? It's not straight away because the x isn't squared. So it has to be a highest common factor or nothing. So is it a highest common factor? Is there something common between this and this? There's a common 3. So I can divide by 3, divide by 3. So 3 divided by 3 is 1, and then you have the x. That 3 is positive, so the signs are different, giving me a minus, and 9 divided by 3 is 3. Okay, so this here is my top line. So my top line is 1x minus 2, 1x minus 3. And then my bottom line is 3 times 1x minus 3. So then you're looking for your cancelling. A 1x minus 3 and a 1x minus 3 top and bottom match. So I get, whatever, write the 1, don't write the 1. So 1x minus 2 over 3 is the answer to B. I might give you C for homework. I'll see. So C is a trinomial on top there. And the bottom has there's no factorizing on the bottom there. Okay, so feel free to give that one a go if you want to. I'm going to move on to the last one. Oh, sorry. So 9e squared minus 25, just because this is a bit different. 9e squared minus 25 over 3e plus 5. Is that right? 9e squared minus 25 over 3e plus 5. Okay, so this is D. I just skipped C there because the top line is a trinomial and we've just done one, and the bottom line is a no factorization and we had that in A. So this is just a little bit different. Okay? Okay, so top line. It's not a trinomial because there aren't 3 bits. Is it a difference of 2 squares? The first thing that would jump out at me is that the letter is squared. So that's promising. Okay? There's a minus. Even more so. So then you have to look at the numbers. Is 9 a square number? It is. It comes from 3 squared. And is 25? It is. It comes from 5 squared. So this is a difference of 2 squares. Okay, so top line. If you remember, we bracket it out and we're going to square it minus bracket it out and we're going to square it. So what is being squared here? To get the 9, it's 3. And to get the e squared, it's e. And to get the 25, it's 5. Okay, and then you just open up your brackets and you do first minus second, first plus second. Your bracket should be identical with the exception of different signs, and there should never be a square in your bracket. Okay, and then the bottom line is 3e plus 5. Okay, so not a trinomial because there aren't 3 bits. Is it a difference of 2 squares? Look at the letter and it's not squared, so no. So then we're left with highest common factor or potentially no factorization. So is there a common factor between 3 and 5? No, actually that's what we had in the first part, wasn't it? Is it 3 and 5? Yeah, look, 3 and 5. So 3 and 5 are both prime numbers, so there's no common factor except for 1, and 1 won't make a difference. Okay, so no factorization over here. So the top line is 3e minus 5 and the bottom line is 3e plus 5. And then, sorry, I think I said that wrong. The top line is 3e minus 5, 3e plus 5. That's the top line over here, the difference of 2 squares. And then the bottom line is 3e plus 5. So is there a cancel? Yep, 3e plus 5 and 3e plus 5. And that leaves you with 3e minus 5 as your final answer. Okay, so that's how you do them. Like I said, I haven't taught you anything new there. It's just the factorizations that we've dealt with already. So every time you look at it, you're like, I always do it in that order, the order I'm doing it with you. Is it a trinomial? Because that's really obvious. Like if it doesn't have 3, it's not a trinomial. So, cross that out first. Next one is the difference of 2 squares. If the letter isn't squared, then it's definitely not a difference of 2 squares. So you can kind of root it out quite quickly in most cases. And that brings you back to highest common factor. So then you're literally at the point where it either is a highest common factor and there is something common, or it's not factorizable, which is definitely not a word. Okay, so take down those notes, make sure you understand them. Please let me know if you don't, and if you want the solution to C, I can do that. And yeah, try the homework. So it's due for Friday.